It's my Christmas shirt.
Did I say 15? Is Hillary coming, Kel?
Huh?
Is Hillary coming?
I don't know.
She's
I just work here, Mayor.
she's not sick anymore. So.
To be in charge?
Hall monitor, yeah.
her?
Who's the hall monitor this
Ooh,
week?
that's tough. That's a big job.
Yeah,
I have a hard time
she's
keeping track of myself.
well, she might not know it's at 5.
Well, everybody else knows it's at 5.
There you go. This is Val's
So
hat.
my votes are yes and yes.
Yes and yes, there you go. Let's do it.
Gar's hat here.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, really, that we have to go to this extreme to
It really is.
do this, but that's just the way it goes. It is. No, it's 5 o'clock. I'm going to get started when you get back.
Councilmember LaBar is on her way.
Not yet. I haven't started yet.
She said she'd be here in like 5 minutes.
Good.
Don't-
This meeting's called for 5, so we're going to start at 5. Okay. Welcome, everybody. And this will be a short meeting. I'm sure everybody will be thrilled with that. We'll start with the roll call, and Suzanne.
Mayor Levy.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Carr.
Here.
Councilmember Case.
I'm here.
Councilmember LaBar is on her way. Councilmember Nacarado.
Here.
Councilmember Saunier.
Here.
And Councilmember Sawyer.
Here.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Susan. If everybody will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll move on. I believe we have an addition or correction to minutes. Is that correct? Should we just move to the consent calendar, Suzanne? I think Jason might have a correction.
We don't have any minutes for review this evening, Your Honor.
Okay.
We could move.
Sounds good. Then we'll just wait, Jason.
So I don't know if it's in the minutes or not, but one of the things we wanted to make sure was clear on the record for the public and for council, last meeting when we were discussing some of the charter review committee's amendments to the charter, we had represented that we had talked to the court, the judge, we meant to say the court clerk, as far as removing penalties from the charter. And so that was a misstatement on our part. We wanted to make sure it was clear. I talked to the judge, and we want to make sure it's clear that she wasn't approached on that issue and doesn't have a position one way or the other. So wanted to make sure that was clear so we're not misrepresenting that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we have no consent calendar then. I have no one signed up for public comment, but this would be the time if anybody would like to come forward. Okay, if not, we will move on. No unfinished business. And we have an ordinance on initial posting, and welcome, Mr. Wiley.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for getting together for this very important topic. Water for our future. Before you tonight is 2 potential water purchases, water shares of Twin Lake. I'd like to discuss item 10-2, Mayor, if that's okay.
Please.
8 and 10 together because they go together. So, agenda item 10 is the resolution, which is the portion for the contract for the water shares. The contract for the water shares is at $42,500 per share. There are 2 individual shareholders. So do the math real quick, and you're at $85,000 for the 2 shares. The ordinance in item 8, so ordinance 1377, is for the portion of that's real property. So council has to accept the real property as well. So before you tonight is ordinance 1377 on initial posting for the real property of those shares, and resolution 854 for the contract of those shares. Just wanted to go through a couple quick facts for council. In the last year, if these 2 are approved, we'll have purchased 8.8 Twin Lake shares for a total of $374,000. All paid out of the 510 Water Fund enterprise. fund. That fund balance is healthy. The projected end fund balance for 2019 is $4.8 million, and the audited 2018 fund balance was $4.7 million. So the fund is healthy. We try to keep it there for these special occasions. I will say that one of the shareholders did have an offer for $2,500 more than what we're paying, but we were able to react faster than the other purchaser, and they went with us. So then again, I want to say thank you. Timeliness is very important with these. And I just want to brag that we've paid the same price for these shares since 2015. So for the last 5 years, we've paid the same price. That price has not gone up. So which is very nice as well. With that, Council, I can answer any water questions you have.
Go ahead, Noel.
Are there any opportunities, is there water shares from like 11 Mile Reservoir, or is that just the Homestead pipeline?
So
Twin Lakes is very far away, that's why I say.
It is. So we own shares in 3 reservoirs. We own Lake Henry, Lake Meredith, and Twin Lakes. Our water comes through the Homestake pipeline from Twin Lakes to Woodland Park. So Colorado Springs conveys it to us. We pay them to convey us our water. It's very expensive. Every year you'll see the conveyance fees go up. They went up 3.5% this year, or for 2020. We don't have shares in Twin. It's because our 11 Mile, that's mostly Denver water. That's in 11 Mile. That's sent down the Arkansas River. We pull it directly out of the Homestake into our reservoir here.
How do we measure how much water we pull out of the Homestake? How do they do that? I mean, is there a valve that says, okay, it's going, okay, that's enough, and it closes?
So down just before the entrance to Rampart Reservoir, you'll see a little road that heads off towards the south. We have a pump station at the bottom of that valley, and we physically pump it out of the pipe, meter it, and it goes all the pipe travels from that pump station all the way to our reservoir down Rampart Range Road. So Twin Lakes is our bottleneck. That's where we own the least amount of shares, but they produce the most amount of water.
So there's a reason why Twin Lakes are pretty much the premier water rights that we want to secure. And you can talk more about that. I'm sure we won't take forever, but Twin Lakes, I mean, the majority of the larger communities in the state want Twin Lakes because of the storage rights that are associated with it, it's Trans Mountain water, so it's use till extinction. There's a lot of great things about Twin Lakes water. Yep. I don't know if you want to chat about that.
Twin Lakes reservoir shares produce the most yield. That's where the most snow is. That's produced the most yield, and it comes with the storage value. So whatever is produced there, we can also store there for the most part until we're full. Our Lake Henry and Lake Meredith shares produce half of that if we're lucky. In a given year. Plus, it's way out east and it evaporates. So we try to hold it as high up in the watershed as possible, less evaporation and most production.
No, I've canoed on it. So, Twin Lakes, it's pretty fun.
To put it into perspective, right now we can store 208 acre-feet of augmentation water in Twin Lakes.
Okay.
In 2019, we used 262 acre-feet. So you're like, well, you're 60 acre-feet difference. Because obviously you're using it when it's coming in and those types of things. Those are things we manage along with our shares in our other reservoirs, and we exchange or move water around that way. But the more water we can store up there, the better off we are, and it will help us in the future, especially when we have our reservoir here. The more we can store up there to move here, the better.
So does it come directly out of the reservoir, or does it get pulled out of the Arkansas? Because that's the headwaters of the Arkansas, I believe, right?
So up by Twin Lakes, yes. So out of the reservoir, it's released into the Arkansas, and I don't know how many miles down the Arkansas it's pulled back out at the Ontario pump station.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yep, Colorado Springs is pump station, and it's piped all the way to Rampart Reservoir, or at least for us.
Cool.
Council, anybody else? Hillary, welcome.
Thanks.
One question I think everybody might be interested in. We spent about $375,000 this year on more water shares. We've got about $4 million in the bank. At what point, right, do we say we have enough, or is there ever that point, or how much of that $4 million do we spend for more water rights?
That is really up to council to decide.
So every time we come here, that's really what you're asking?
Well, Kip, if you can, I think that the population that typically one resident one home can be equated to 1 acre foot of, so we do equate the future population with additional water shares to there is an end state. It's not like you're gonna, but you can always these water rights are such in high demand that having them is always a benefit to the city as well. You can lease the water that you're not using if you're at that. We're not at that point, but if we were, cities like the city of Pueblo lease hundreds of acre feet of water each year as a benefit to the city. It's a revenue stream for them that they can use to help improve their infrastructure, maintain their infrastructure. It becomes more of a sustainable enterprise for them.
Well, and when I say it comes to council, this doesn't expand our population. This secures our existing local water, so we can use that and replace the consumptive portion. What I've been seeing are shares are typically producing less water in general. All right, so with less water means less taps that we sell or that we can commit to. So every year when we do the annual allotment, I take into account all of our water and how much water is produced by those water rights. If the Twin Lakes shares start dropping in yield, let's say on an average year, the Twin Lakes share produces 1 acre foot. I've seen that go as low as 0.4 acre feet in dry years. So it just secures us for those drier years as well. Over time, if we see people are using less water, which we do, there may be more taps available for a larger population, but that's really hard to predict. So basically, we're securing our future based on we know we can serve this population, and we know our shares produce less and less water. We need to make sure we have the same amount of water in general.
Well, and the reason I ask is we're coming up with a 10-year comp plan this year, and how do we plan for the future if we don't know what our water is or what the availability is, and how closely will water department work in that regard with those people providing that comp plan?
Well, and the thing is they always go up in price. If we don't need them, we can sell them for more. However, if we do need them, we have them, and we continue to look, and there's so few shares left. So the majority of the shares are owned by your larger municipalities. That's just a fact. I mean, Pueblo West, Colorado Springs Utilities, Aurora, I mean, you name it, they own the majority of the shares. So we're picking up onesies and twosies from just private people who have shares. We just sent another letter out this week to another shareholder who has 7 shares who was looking at potentially selling. So I mean, I could come back to you in another week or two with some more, but I'm just trying to secure the water that we have for the population we intend to serve.
It's important to highlight that Kip's relationships with those families that are selling this is incredibly important because I think I'll tell you, he's beaten out a lot of, including myself when I was in Pueblo West, for these same shares, right? And so it's him, and it's our ability as a city to react quickly to purchase these that's been paying dividends for us. Why we've gotten these 8.5 or so shares this year, and that cannot be underestimated, understated. It's been incredibly important.
I mean, we're 23 days ahead of the person who wanted to buy the shares for additional $2,500 on the price that we're getting them for now. So that's why I said thank you when I first got here, because it means a lot that you guys and gals will come in and make these decisions.
I always say who's thanking who. So let's start with thanking you for creating those relationships, because I know how far those go in life, and we're with you all the time. Where water's concerned, I don't think there's 7 more people that are more interested or more vested. So thanks very much. Who else? Noel?
To me, the bottom line is water's the new gold, and every opportunity we can get some water, we should take it. Because, like you said, if we get too much, we can turn around and sell it for a profit. So I think...
There's never too much water.
No such thing.
Not in this
No
state.
such thing. It's the new gold. Why there's a YouTube documentary out there about I think it's on Netflix about water, and when you watch that, you will try to buy as much water as possible. I don't know who's seen it, but it's a pretty amazing documentary. And so, water is the new gold. I think that's the title.
Okay, that said, if there's no other discussion, need a motion to consider, we'll do 1377 on the ordinance first.
Motion to consider ordinance 1377.
I'll second.
And a second. Any other discussion, council? Susan?
I just want to mention that we will be setting the public hearing for February 20th, 2020. I just want that on the record.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Carr?
Yes.
Case?
Yes.
Labar?
Yes.
Levy?
Yes.
Nacarado?
Yes.
Sonier?
Yes.
Sawyer?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Great. Thank you very much. So no public hearings tonight, so we'll move on to new business and just need a motion to approve resolution number 854.
Motion to approve resolution 854.
Second.
Okay.
And a second from Val.
Just for the record, the motion is to approve resolution number 854, 2020 for the city purchase of water shares.
Thank you.
Case?
Yes.
Labar?
Yes.
Levy?
Yes.
Nacarado?
Yes.
Sonier?
Yes.
Sawyer?
Yes.
Carr?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Council.
Suze. Thanks again, Kip. Great job. Okay, move on to reports. Mayor's reports, I don't have any report tonight. Val, you told me you don't have anything
I
tonight.
do not. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Kelly?
I have nothing, thank you.
Hillary?
Nothing.
We're down to Paul.
Hey, the moose is coming. He's loose. He was out yesterday. He'll be around town. 15th, he's coming in grand style. Come out and support your local businesses and spur some economic development and say hello to the moose.
Thank you, sir.
I swear I was driving by Tweeds and I thought I saw someone tackle the moose. It was hilarious, but they didn't. They were hugging him. But I have nothing.
Okay, thank you.
Dar, Mr. Mayor, Dar, Nacarado?
Dar, did I pass you? You were shaking your head.
No, I have nothing.
Oh, that's what I thought.
And we made eye contact, and I just...
He was leaned back, I thought maybe you didn't see him. Thank you.
Thanks for stopping me, though. That's great. Okay, we'll move on to city attorney's report.
All right, just trying to be brief tonight. I was approached concerning one of the ordinances that was passed on second reading and make sure I understand council's intent. This is the ordinance from one of the Charter Review Committee suggestions on boards and commissions and creating term limits. It comes to my attention after the fact, of course, and I apologize for that. The word committee doesn't appear in the language, and the city also has committees that are regularly seated, and the question to council is, was it intended to include term limits in the question for committees as well, or was that purposely left out? I didn't think about that when I was drafting. I put boards and commissions because that's what I was familiar with, but didn't think about committees. So if that's something that we need to change before the ballot is finally approved and sent off to the publishers, we could do that by resolution. I just wanted to make sure it was clear what the intent was.
If I may, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, the intent was committees, boards, and all associated designated council appointments.
Okay, so
that was the committee's recommendation. So
yes,
I would suggest that we make that, but I'm only one person.
And we can fix that just with just adding "and committee"?
Correct. That was the intent, was to just add the word "and committees."
Yeah.
And that should cover everything as far as I understand it
yes.
now.
Any issue with that, council?
No.
And so the ballot won't be finalized for another few weeks, right? But that's kind of why I bring it up tonight, because we don't meet again until the 20th after the ballot's been certified. So in order to fix an error such as this, you can do a resolution on that ordinance to say that was unintended, and we can make that kind of a retroactive fix.
Would you like to state a resolution that we might?
I guess it would be a resolution to amend ordinance 1365 to add the terms "and committees" to the language of the ballot question and changes in the charter should it pass.
So moved.
Second.
Are you good with that?
We're voting on a resolution.
Correct.
Okay.
So we're approving the resolution now?
To amend.
Approving
Excellent.
a resolution to include and committees.
And for the record, it'll be Resolution 855. Labar,
Yes.
Levy,
Yes.
Nacarado,
Yes.
Sonier,
Yes.
Sawyer,
Yes.
Carr,
Yes.
Case.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
And then just for your edification, the reason we do that by resolution, and we can do that tonight, is because this is more or less a typo, an unintended issue. It wasn't something that was purposefully needing to republish everything, etc.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
That's all you have. Darren?
Only thing, quick announcement, Monday at 5:30 is the Citizens Academy, so if you're scheduled to be there, we will see you there in this room at 5:30. Also say that the town hall for these amendments, I believe, is going to be held on February 25th at UPass Cultural Center at what time? 6 p.m. So, okay.
And did you sell out for the academy?
Yes, we did.
Excellent.
Yeah, we are maxed out. In fact, we've got more people than we can handle because we have a requirement for transportation, and we've maxed that out now. So yeah, it's fantastic.
Excellent.
We're at 28, I believe, is what we're at. Yeah.
Excellent.
So
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Maybe
Good for us. Thank you, Darren.
maybe you scared them away from being on council.
and rather went to Citizens Academy.
Yeah, the Citizens Academy, because it was.
There,
You know,
actually, Don, you're going to be at there as well. We got a bunch of candidates that'll be at the Citizens Academy, so that'll be great.
As
So,
it should be.
yes.
That's great.
Okay, anything else?
No.
Council, anybody have anything else? If not, we're about 6 minutes past what I promised everybody, so this meeting's adjourned.